Okay, so I know it looks like I'm on my set in New York, but I'm actually live in Las Vegas, gearing up for the start of CES 2022. Our photographers are already on the floor. Team Fox Business. This is a live picture courtesy of my brilliant photographer, Pete Regina. And that is the floor of the West Hall in the Las Vegas Convention Center. They are setting up right now the new wing of the 4.6 million square foot facility. For those of you counting, that's like 79 football fields of space. The West Hall is where the Claman Countdown will kick off 3 days of broadcasting starting tomorrow. We have a huge professional footprint, a very large crew. Now, you may ask, what about all those cancellations? We've got a pandemic going on. Well, CES before the pandemic was the largest international electronics convention in the world, with more than 4,400 tech companies exhibiting their latest and greatest gadgets, some 170,000 attendees. I would show, the foldable Lenovo laptop right there. We showed so many different things, all of the brand new technology. Now, while the attendance this year will be much smaller, the world will be watching. This is the first test for a return to international conventions in a post-pandemic world. Big name cancellations, though, due to the Omicron fears began 3 weeks ago, with T-Mobile CEO Mike Sievert backing out of both his company's presence and his keynote address. He's not even doing it virtually. Amazon Ring, Facebook parent Meta, Twitter, Pinterest, Intel, P&G, Panasonic, they all followed suit saying, yeah, we're not going to be there. But tech behemoths Samsung, LG, Qualcomm, Abbott Labs, and Sony are still in, along with 2,200 companies setting up on the convention floor right now. Make no mistake, this is my 14th CES, at least for Fox Business. I went once for WSYX in Columbus, Ohio, a million years ago. But it is already a much different experience. Here's a quick look at my journey to Las Vegas and CES, arriving yesterday. Can you tell I've arrived at Vegas Airport? And now I'm heading to badge pickup for the Consumer Electronics Show. So we'll see how that goes. You have to show your vaccination card and get a test. Let's go. Welcome to Las Vegas. In my hot little hand, I have the coveted CES badge. To get this, I had to show that I was double vaxxed. They did not insist on seeing that I've been boosted, even though I have been. And they said, please understand that if you lose this, it's a $300 replacement fee. So we're not going to lose it, right, Liz? Okay, no, I still have it. And hello, Vegas. COVID, CES hands every single person who's arriving 2 COVID tests. I took one this morning. Mine came back negative. I will be taking one every morning and every night. We are ready to cover this not only as a business story, but as a global news story. I want to welcome the man who greenlit the convention this week and made it all happen, the CES Ringmaster and Consumer Technology Association President and CEO, Gary Shapiro. Gary, the cancellations got all the attention. I want to hear what the latest numbers of people who are still coming are. Break it right here.
Well, thanks, Liz, for coming, and thanks for being in Las Vegas. We're so thrilled to have you. We couldn't have CES without you. We are, I'm pleased to share with you now the new number, which is actually an expanded number. So we were saying 2,200. A few weeks ago, we were saying 1,700. Now we're over 2,300 exhibitors. They keep signing up. We've had lots in November and lots in December. And why is that? Because this is one place a lot of companies rely on each year to get their message out, and they really didn't have that in 2021. There's been a huge amount of investment in startups lately. The third quarter of 21 compared to the third quarter of 2020, the startup investment globally went up over 100%. And most of that, we believe, was in tech companies. So there's all these companies that want to show what they can do and get the feedback from journalists like you, from retailers, from media, from investors, from partners. Just get feedback whether the product's good or not, and then readjust. And that's why CES is so important, and why it is for many other reasons as well going forward, is that companies rely on it. Last night, we had our CES unveiled. Hundreds of startups out there and other companies. And I was overwhelmed by the number of people just thanking me, saying, look, with tears in their eyes, we wait for this all year. Please go forward. Plus, we heard from the countries that are sending people and companies for the first time, from the Eastern Europe, from Asia. Korea has a record number of startups coming. France has a huge number. Netherlands has a record. Italy has a record. All over the world, they're coming, converging on Las Vegas in a safe, reasonably safe way to see what they could do for the year, because that's what innovation is about. Now, this show will be a little messy. We know that, but innovation is messy.
Well, okay, but Gary, CES is going to be, as I said, scrutinized by health experts. The companies that pulled out, from T-Mobile and Amazon, et cetera, they pulled out because they believe it will be unsafe, and that translates to they think it'll be a super spreader event. I've heard that from more people. We're journalists. I know there are 1,000 journalists coming. We've run toward nuclear disasters. I ran toward a Category 5 hurricane. That is what we do. This is a huge news story, but why are those companies wrong? What makes you believe that it will not be a super spreader event?
Well, we've done everything we're supposed to do. We've relied upon medical experts. We were the first show to say a big event saying everyone must be vaccinated. Now tell me, millions of people go to sporting events around the United States every week. They're not required to be vaccinated. They're not required to be masked, and they certainly don't test. So we're doing all three of those. We're providing the free tests. We're requiring the masking, and this is a vaccinated-only event. And that's very, very rare, and I think that's going to be the standard in the future. And that's what we're doing. We've also taken all sorts of other safety protocols, from limiting seats in conference rooms, requiring social distancing, new types of ventilating, much, much wider aisles, one-way aisles often. So we've done everything we possibly can do. But having said that, look, it's time to get back to normal. This is what we heard from President Biden in the last few weeks repeatedly. We've heard it from Republicans as well and other Democrats. We have a great showing of the Biden administration coming, and a record number of senators, U.S. senators, Republican and Democrat, coming. It's important that business stay and continue the course, and we go forward. We have to stop staying in our homes, and we start living again. And we have the tools now. This is not March of 2020. This is 2022, where we have vaccines. We know they work really, really well. The risk of hospitalization or death, if you're vaccinated from this, is very, very minimal. And we know it's out there. We've lived with the flu all our lives, and we knew there's risks there. We live with cars. We live with other things. We go to the grocery store, and we know that the grocery store, I feel more comfortable going to CES in a CES bubble with only vaccinated, masked people than I do going to my local grocery store where there's people not wearing masks and they're not vaccinated.
Before we go, we're going to be covering trends for the next 3 days. The metaverse is huge. If ever there was a year where people would opt to go to the metaverse and attend a show like this, who knows? They might be able to next year. But we're going to be showing things like haptic vests, which enable people to feel stuff in the universe of metaverse, the digital world. Also, space technology. This is going to be the very first inaugural year of space technology. Why are these two regions so important now?
Well, we're seeing a lot of new things and new categories created almost overnight, and that's what's changed in 2 years. It's been a long 2 years, and a lot of innovation is just ready to burst there. Obviously, space, we've seen tremendous developments. We'll see a space plane. It's a big part of the show. You can see it right there, as well as food technology. The metaverse is obviously huge. We have a ton of exhibitors. Plus, we have a lot of exhibitors, frankly, that are providing solutions for the COVID problem. They're providing cleansing solutions. They're providing all sorts of new testing ways, doing it like a breathalyzer. There's over 100 health-related technology exhibitors. We have the automobile area is one of the biggest footprints we've ever had. All sorts of the ecosystem in automobiles, smart homes, robotics, you name it. It's at CES in a big way. And it's covering the gamut of solving the world's problems and saying we need clean air, clean water, environmentally friendly products, more efficient. We need greater ways of getting healthcare out as we have fewer doctors and more sick people and an older generation.
Gotcha. Well, Gary, we're here and we are ready. A big Fox Business team on the ground right here. Gary Shapiro, first on Fox Business. Great to hear there are more than 2,300 exhibitors. Can't wait to get the final tally. We get things started tomorrow. Live from the floor of CES, the West Hall, the brand new area. We're joined by General Motors CEO Mary Barra and Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon. Cristiano has a huge presence when it comes to chips for VR and the metaverse. We also have billionaire founder of Luminar, Austin Russell. That's tomorrow on the Claman Countdown, live 3 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Business. We're coming right back.